Running a mountain shelter in the brutal winters of the 1960s Alps is a fantastic simulation idea. The good news is this isn't just a snowy management wallpaper. There are some genuinely authentic systems here. The bad news, I guess, is that there's a few odd UI moments, some missing voice work, and some unique gameplay elements that require a bit of learning in order to get to grips with. Above the Snow is a mountain shelter management game where you will take over a struggling Alpine lodge, restore it, keep it heated and supplied, attract guests and build safe trails through dangerous mountain terrain. It releases in April 2026, developed by Above the Desk, published by Wandering Wizard, and it's a casual indie simulation strategy single-player game. Here's my full breakdown using the SimShack 7-pillar review system. For a game about running a remote mountain shelter in the harsh winters of the 1960s, I would expect some realistic logistics, proper weather pressure, believable trail planning, heating management, and the constant problem of keeping people alive and comfortable in a hostile environment where mobile phones do not yet exist. Quite a lot of that does work well. One of my favourite aspects is the fact that wood really matters in several different ways. You need wood in order to heat the place, wood to build and upgrade things, and wood to expand your trail networks. That instantly creates pressure because every decision has a cost, and that feels authentic. Any job that your crew are implemented to do will sap away at their energy, and that's what keeps the balance between resources, time and energy always on the precipice of collapse. Another great feature is the trail system. You're not just clicking a destination and teleporting tourists there, you're looking at a slope, you're looking at the traversal difficulty, the scenery, the safety, the forest tags and barriers, and the type of alpinist that you're catering for. Then someone still has to physically go out and prepare the route before guests can use it. That works very well, and it's one of the strongest realism points in the game. The weather and the mountain survival angle also helps. Nights come in early, cold affects morale and health, buildings lose durability because of the weather, and heating has to be managed carefully or you'll burn through supplies. That combination is quite immersive. The helicopter delivery and snowcat supply runs are another strong example of how realistic this game is. I like the fact that if terrain becomes a problem, you can pay more for air transport. That's an interesting option and a fun feature, and it really suits the setting. The game also has a proper background story, which matters more to people than you might think. This isn't just build random stuff in the snow, you're reviving a neglected shelter, dealing with a cast of characters, local politics, and the question of whether or not this place can survive. That gives the management side a reason to exist. That being said, realism does fall short in places. There are some awkward UI and task flow moments. I had to fight the interface a little bit to remember where certain jobs were assigned, and there were moments where I couldn't immediately work out what the game wanted from me. But that learning curve is easily overcome with time, and it's just a little bit quirky to start with. I also found some minor inconsistencies around the helicopter scene, where the pilot appears to be chatting after he has effectively already technically left. Not a huge issue, but one of those moments that reminds you that it is just a game. Overall though, I did come away thinking there's a definite sense of realism here. It's not exactly hardcore mountain rescue sim, but it absolutely has authentic ideas in it, and it adheres to those quite strongly. Audio is important because it supports immersion. Whilst there is some voice acting at the start of the game, a lot of the character work later becomes very text heavy. Because the game is clearly trying to sell a story and each person has their own personality, that lack of consistent voice work does reduce the amount of authenticity that those interactions create. The ambient sound works well. We have wind, environmental sounds, owl noises constantly, and the general atmosphere all suit the setting. The opening voice work also helped to sell the world and the storyline, and I specifically noted that it seemed pretty realistic and reasonably well implemented. The weakness, of course, is that the game doesn't maintain that level of voice work throughout. Pretty soon, there's a lot of text to read, and some of the character moments would have resonated more with some proper voice acting. So whilst the audio is good, it certainly could go further. Immersion here comes from the combination of realism plus audio plus gameplay engagement. The mountain setting, the cold, the shelter management, and the background story all work together. Planning a trail, repairing the lodge, watching the mayor's group arrive cold and hungry, and reacting to spoiled supplies, sealing windows, keeping the buildings warm, and trying to satisfy different kinds of guests. That all added up to a really immersive experience. A particularly good immersive moment was the mayor inspection sequence, because suddenly the systems mattered. I needed to have beds, warmth, food, comfort, legality, permits, a certain level of reputation, and it all came together at once. A funny moment was the love child of tank and rusty bathtub, a comment about a snowcat that really suited the tone quite nicely. So fun and gameplay. This is where the game is at its strongest. It is instantly enjoyable. Once the core loop clicks, building the shelter up, managing the limited resources, improving guest comfort, planning trails for different climbing groups, levels and technical ability, whilst trying to stay ahead of the weather and avoid hunger and maintain morale. All excellent features and all very, very enjoyable to keep on top of. There's also a satisfying sense that the game could open up into something much bigger. I got the feeling that this could become a very strong long-term management game, and that's a good sign. Certainly the map and the number of locations you can visit are quite large. I also like that systems interacted. Heating affects wood, wood affects construction, construction affects comfort, comfort affects morale, and morale affects guests. Trails affect reputation, and reputation affects your long-term future. That's all good design, but I have to say, it's not explained very well during the tutorials, and it's something that you're going to have to learn through playing. The performance was excellent in my session. I played 60 frames per second with no dipping or dropping, and nothing in the transcript suggested crashes or meaningful technical instability beyond the small text tutorial bug that I mentioned earlier. Artistically, it works really well. The map looked good. The mountain peaks, the lookouts immediately made the world feel interesting, and I liked the character art and the overall style of everything. It isn't exactly trying to be ultra realistic, but it doesn't really need to. The graphics perfectly suit the setting and the game type. One of the nicest little visual touches was seeing workers leave trails in the snow. Now that's one of those small details that helps keep the whole world feel more alive and more realistic. Above the Snow is a very easy game to recommend, definitely one to keep an eye on. It has proper mountain flavour, authentic management pressure and an interesting background story. And some genuinely strong systems around heating, route planning, shelter upgrades and guest care. It's not perfect, more voice acting would certainly help, some UI clarity would help too, and a few quirks need ironing out here and there. But even in this state I found it to be a very highly polished, totally unique, atmospheric and incredibly enjoyable game to play. I would definitely like to get my teeth into this on a long-term basis.
In a world of pixels where dreams collide, some UK reviews, the honest guide. From racing cars to flying high, ultimate realism, take your wings to the sky. We talk about the truth and keep it real, fact-based reviews, it's all in the field. No hype, just clarity, we break it down. Realistic simulators, the talk of the town. Real Talk Sim UK, we're here to say, we keep it smooth, never lead you astray. News and previews and interviews on site, set up guides to take your game to new heights. Honesty is the best policy, they say. Always tell the truth in every way. Yeah. From the cockpit view to the racetrack lanes, we dive deep into the cold, explore the veins. Ultimate simulations that make you feel alive. Realistic graphics, man, we help you thrive. Each guide is crafted with love and care. No false impressions, just a breath of fresh air. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro, Sim UK Reviews is the way to go. Real talk, Sim UK, we're here to say we keep it smooth, never lead you astray. News and previews to Tokyo's on site. Set up guides to take your game to new heights. Honesty is the best policy, they say. Always tell the truth in every way. Yeah, we're diving in, no shortcuts here. Honest updates, that's what you'll hear. Simulations that sparkle, realism that shines. With every review, you'll know what's divine. From the mechanics to the sound of the game, Sim UK's the name. Remember the fame, we won't steer you wrong. We keep it tight, sharing knowledge in the day and the night. Yeah, got set up guides to make it a breeze. The reviews that unlock with the greatest of ease. Fact-based reviews taking the forefront. Realistic simulation, we always confront. The challenge is real, embrace what you find. Sim UK Reviews just leaves you enlightened. No fluff, just facts, that's our creed. Bringing you the truth, that's how we lead. So come along with us, join the ride. Sim UK Reviews, your truth by your side. With every honest word, you'll capture the thrill. Ultimate realism, the peak of the hill. From flying high to racing fast. Sim UK Reviews, your knowledge will last. Together we can explore, uncover and learn. Realistic simulation, it's our turn.